What's up, family? Welcome to Positive Power XXI, J. Royce Films. I'm Jerry Royce Live, and you're watching The Red Room with Shay Samuels, right here on Music Vision Television. That's right, MVTV-21.com. It's going to be awesome, y'all. So please share this file. It's going to be awesome. You know what's going to be? It's going to be lit.
Welcome to another episode of The Red Room. I am your host, Shay Samuels, and I'm so glad that you're here with us for another episode. As always, we have so many great guests, and today we're not going to disappoint you. Today, I have my sister friend, my media guru, Paula G. Voice, Lady Wisdom After Midnight is what I call her, with me today, and I promise you that you are going to be blessed. First of all, her voice is so soothing. When you hear her talk, you'll know exactly why we call her Lady Wisdom. So much wisdom comes out of her. But I want you to get to know her for yourself. So first, let me say, welcome, Paula G.
Hey, Shay Samuels, voice of an angel. How are you, love?
I'm good. My song says, I'm good.
I'm good.
Well, thank
it's
you
all
so
right.
much. It's all right. It will be all right.
It will
A
be
song
all right.
that touches everything. But let's hear some more about you. I know that the audience have seen you. You know, you're doing some phenomenal things out there. You are no stranger, not just to the Red Room, but even to the production. And so I just want everyone to know, if you have not met her before, just to get a tad bit about who you are.
Well, I like to consider myself a sagacious lifestyle influencer who is embracing my journey and encouraging others to embrace theirs by just manifesting their dreams. You know, George Eliot said that it's never too late to be what you might have been, and I am a witness. I'm a radio and TV personality. I'm a voiceover talent, a print model, an actress, an author, and it is a pleasure to be with you, my sister.
Yes. I mean, and here's the thing. The one thing that I love the most about you is your energy. It doesn't matter, you know, anytime we see you, you are so productive. If it's not training and pulling those big old wheels over, you just be going in, you going in. I have seen some of your print models, and I think amazing, just inspiring. And you show, you know, the 60 and over, like, you show that it seriously does not matter. It doesn't matter. You begin right where you are. Like, every day, I can just see you waking up, PG. I call her PG, but Paula G. I could see you waking up and just saying, what am I going to get into today? I know that, you know, God has something designed for you, but you just don't sit still. So I really appreciate who you are and the inspiration that you have become for so many of us. So today we're going to be talking about something I believe is needed. I believe that, you know, there's so many things going on in this world, and we get distracted by what we see on TV, what we hear on radio, what's going on in our personal lives. And you know what? I feel that we're forgetting about a group of people that really need us. All the drama that goes on with the politics, everything that's going on with religion, you know, there's so much violence and it's running rampant. We're in the midst of a war. So much is happening. And I think we've forgotten about the little people. I think we've forgotten about the little people. And so I want to talk about that tonight, community, and how important it is for us to bring it back. Bring it back. What did community look like for you growing up, Paula G?
Oh my goodness. Community, what it looked like for me was family and the church. My mother's side of the family was a pretty sizable family. I had a lot of aunts and uncles, and you know, I can remember, as we're talking, I can remember every year my family had a crab feast in Delaware. My mother's side of the family is from Delaware. And we would have this family crab feast. And my uncles would steam the crabs. They throw the bushels on the table,
Wow.
and
Yes.
everyone would just, get their crabs. And I remember that up until about the age of 5 or 6, the aunties, they would take
Yes.
and shell your crabs for you. But after that age, you were on your
I
own. So
still get it done. I still get it done. My mom still de-shells for me.
see, you're one of the lucky ones. But it was just that community of family. It was a
Yeah.
community, our church community as well, was a
Yes.
close-knit community. Our youth group, our Bible studies, Sunday school, all of those groups
Wow.
were just developed who we are, and helped us to grow into
Yeah.
who it is that we are today.
Yeah, it's amazing because as you were talking, I was thinking about my third grade teacher. Her name was Miss Thomas.
Mhm.
And one year, my mom, forgive me because I know that she's going to see this broadcast, but my mom, she was dating a guy and the guy stole all of our Christmas gifts. And it was amazing for my mom because she was going out hustling and bustling. And she had told the school about it. And my teacher, Miss Thomas, I thought I was in trouble, but after school, my teacher pulled my brother and I into a room. It was kind of like a boardroom type of thing. And we were sitting there thinking we were in trouble. And the teachers rallied around us. They heard what happened and they started bringing toys. They started bringing their own gifts to replace what had been stolen. And my mom, she popped in and they had blessed her with that. And for me, that's what community looks like as well. It can happen right there in the school. And we're missing a lot of that. Right now, Paula G, I feel like the teachers are giving up so much on the kids. And it's, you can't really blame them, unfortunately, because the kids are not being raised properly at the homes. Parents are getting younger. And we're really missing an opportunity to kind of bring that back. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's even possible to bring back what you just talked about? And even what I just said, do you think that it's possible for us to even touch that again?
I believe anything is possible.
Yes.
But but it is definitely a journey. I think there's a multitude of issues that have brought us to where we are today. And one of them, and I don't know that people really think about this or consider this, but one of them, yes, the things that you mentioned are factors, but I
Yes.
really believe when we talk about community, when we were growing up,
Yes.
I believe one of the factors was the transition from neighborhoods to subdivisions.
Ooh,
Because when you were little, you got on your bike and you
wow.
you went from street to street. If you had a friend that was 3 or 4 streets over,
Wow.
you could ride your bike over there as long as you were home by the time the street lights came on. You
Yes.
know, and you just navigated the streets in the neighborhood. But
Yes.
now that we are in these subdivisions, our young people are not really
Wow.
riding bikes, much less venturing out of the subdivision to
Yes.
go to another subdivision to visit friends. So I think that was the beginning of the decline of our
Yeah.
community as we know it. The corner store, you remember maybe riding your bike
Yes.
or walking to the corner store. So,
Yes.
once we got in these isolated subdivisions, these gated communities,
Yes.
the
Ooh.
children began to engage in activities and toys that were of the technological nature,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
opposed to, being put outside and you got to stay out there
Yes.
till the street lights came on. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's true because I remember when I was probably maybe in the sixth grade at this point, and I remember reading in my scholastic book all of this technology that was going to come. And I was thinking at a very young age how much of a disadvantage it was going to be for us as we got older. I felt like it was going to make people weaker. I felt like people were going to become less intelligent because everything was made easy. I was reading it and I remember how many jobs would be lost because of it. My mom, shout out to her, she used to be a general manager at KFC. And every summer, my mom would host a party in the parking lot. She would get a big stage out. I had the honor of actually performing at one of her events, but every summer she would bring out the community. And this was at KFC. She would just bring out everything in the parking lot, have everyone come, and she would give her favorite thing away, 2 wings and a biscuit. And that was her way of giving back into the community. I never thought about the subdivision, though. I never thought about how isolated the subdivisions have made us, because I live in one, and I have to be honest with you, I don't see that people are very neighborly. I can't honestly say, I came out one day, and I'm home very little, but I came home, I had new neighbors. They have a gate up. Knew nothing about it. I didn't know anything about it. But I do remember the times where my grandmother and her neighbors would just sit out on the step. I remember the kids riding the bike. You said it, and I thought about how many times we were playing double dutch, scribbling in the middle of the street. Right. And we're not giving the kids an opportunity. There's a lot of violence out there, Paula G. And I do want to talk about that, because we have to, somebody's watching this and they're saying, well, don't they know that people are killing one another every single day? That's why we're afraid to go outside. We don't know who to talk to. There's so many mental disadvantages there. You were in the school system at some point. What did you see, and how did you overcome that?
Well, in the school, we always say that, well, not always, but they're one of my administrators, I remember she would say at the beginning of each year that each student walks into the building each and every day with an invisible suitcase. And our job within the 6 or 7 hours we have them is to help them unpack that suitcase, to figure out how to coexist with what is in that suitcase while learning their academics, and then sending them back home, because the rules of the school building for some of our youth are different than the rules out there on the street. And I know we've heard this conversation before. Things that are not allowed in school are things they need on the outside in order to survive. So it's a constant, it's just a constant struggle back and forth. And depending on the environments that the students were coming from, some students handled their situations different. They may have had similar parallel situations, but depending on the foundation that they were coming from, determine how they handled it, how they coexisted with it. When you have a young person that's worried about their home life when they get home, when they're worried about being safe when they're getting home, when they're worried about getting from the schoolhouse to home, it's difficult for them to concentrate on English, math, science, and social studies. When they have all these emotions and these feelings and they don't know where to put them, a lot of times they come out in anger. A lot of times they come out in violence. I remember I had a young lady, and she was sent down to my office for some sort of disciplinary action. And I developed a bond with this young lady. And usually when my students would leave my office, I'd give them a hug, And I remember approaching this young lady, and she kind of cringed. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, may I give you a hug? Is it okay to give you a hug? And she was shaking her head violently. Now, this young lady was about 16 years old. She was shaking her head violently. Long story short, because of the life that she had to coexist with at 16 years of age, she had never been hugged. She had never felt a hug. And when adults approached her, it was not in a positive way. So she didn't, trust that interaction. So it's just a lot of social and emotional, psychological,
right there.
Social and emotional baggage that is in that invisible suitcase that they bring into the building, and it can manifest in them fighting. It can manifest in them falling asleep in class. It can manifest in them, skipping classes. But at the end of the day, it manifests for the most part in them not having the ability to retain the English, math, science, and social studies, which is a whole nother conversation, because then you're looking at performance, and then you're looking at test scores, and that's a whole nother,
it just spirals itself down. It spirals itself down.
Spiral. And I think with the teachers, I would have to say the majority of them, yes, there are some that are like, deuces, but the majority of them come to work every day, pouring out their heart, their
Yes.
soul, their own
Yes.
finances,
Yes.
their own emotions,
Yes.
to
They come in with
do
their own
their
baggage as
best.
well.
Yeah, on top of that, yes. And doing their best to pour into these young people and help these young people. I remember a teacher coming into my office one day, and because of all of the testing protocols and the administrative and the political and all that sort of thing,
Hmm.
I remember this teacher just tearing up
Oh,
and saying to me, she said, I just want to teach.
yeah.
I just want to teach. That's all I want to, I just want to teach.
It doesn't
You
happen
know,
that way.
yeah, I just wanted to, all of the political and the administrative and the red tape and
What would happen? What would happen if what you go through in the school, you actually had to go through at while you're in school? What would happen if instead of teaching the information that they'll need to be able to teach as a teacher, that they get up with the time and they start giving the teacher even that type of class so that they are aware when you go into the classrooms, here's what you're going to enter into. I
Mhm,
remember even before I became a nurse, it was all easy peasy. I mean, there were some things
mhm.
that we had to do that were like, we had to prick each other's skin. There were some things we had to test on one another.
Right.
But when I got on the floor, it was completely different. And a lot of people who were in school with me, they bailed out of nursing quickly because we didn't get the full training. So I think we could start there too. I think while the teachers are in school, I think that there needs to be some type of fire drill, if you will. There has to be some type of fire drill that we could give, or they could give the teachers, because when they go out, you get what you just got, what was said to you. I just want to teach.
Yeah. Well, and I think, it to their credit, of course, all of them go through a student teaching, but sometimes they go through student teaching in environments that are not reflective of the environment they actually wind up in. And it's sort of, if I could use this analogy, it's sort of like, and I remember when my oldest daughter did her study abroad program her junior year of college.
Uh-huh.
She was fluent in Spanish, took Spanish all through high school, all through college. She was fluent in Spanish, and this may be to your point. She was fluent in Spanish, did her interview, everything in Spanish. Her first semester was in, I might be getting the semesters confused, but her first semester was in the Dominican Republic, and she struggled because
Oh,
the dialect, the connotations, definitions of certain things are different than the manner in which she learned
yes.
Spanish
Yes.
here.
Wow.
The second semester she was in Cuba, it was a repeat where
Wow.
she had to go through that again. So I think I said that to say you can only simulate so much, because once you
Yes.
actually get into the school environment,
Yes.
there are definitely drills that educators go through, but
Okay.
until you actually get into the specific school environment and the culture of that
Yes.
particular school, you can apply what you've learned,
Yeah.
but a lot of it really is thinking on your feet.
Yeah. And
Thinking
I
on your
think
feet.
too, just getting back to the community, I think that schools have a good part, getting back
Mhm.
to the schools do expect the children to be. I had a friend who was saying that their son got in trouble, having a hard time at school. And he said that the teacher called and said, he made a comment that he didn't like.
Mhm.
And so they wanted the dad to come pick him up. And the dad was just like, these teachers nowadays, they just don't know how to work with the kids. I mean,
Mhm.
before, like, I used to just get put in the corner, not me personally, but I know some people who used to go into detention. That wasn't me. But he was saying the teachers are very impatient. But I think from a community aspect, even as adults, we've gotten impatient. I have a cousin who actually told me that her mom, although we saw her as very privileged, she had nice clothes on, hair was always done. Mom worked a lot to make sure she had these items and then sent her with my aunt.
Mhm.
And as she's older, she said to me, she said, you guys saw me as privileged and I saw me as underprivileged. I
Mhm.
never had my mom. She said she was always at work and all I wanted was my mom.
Mhm.
And we have been put in an environment where we can't even involve ourselves in anything community. You have HOA meetings, only one person really shows up. You have a community event, the person who put it on, I shout out to my community. When we had the pandemic, everyone came out with barbecues. We came out with grills, the front of our driveways, and we kind of waved to one another. And that was just about it. But where we got it from, I'm going to be honest, and this is another opportunity for you guys to catch for community. We got it from the commercials that allowed us now to be able to re-identify with how to build. Paula G, I think media has a lot to do with disconnecting as a community as well. So do you believe that we need a lot more in the media that kind of depicts what community looks like? Because clearly we followed it by example. What do you think?
Well, I think we followed it because we didn't have a choice. We didn't have anything else to do. So that's why I think we followed it, because if that were mirrored today, I don't know that people would come out, into the community and would have the barbecues and so forth. Because now
it's only like 2 years ago.
Yeah, how quickly we forget.
That was only 2 years ago.
How quickly.
All the ideas, social media brought everybody back together. Like as soon as Zoom came out, everybody was on the phone Zooming. But I'm like, Zoom's been out. How come we're just now connecting in this way?
Because I believe, had to.
I believe that media has a lot to do with it as well. We just have to really strategize. One thing you did say is we have to get back. You didn't say this, but pretty much what it is we have to get back to trusting. I think that has a lot to do too with the lack of community, that we don't trust one another. As beings, like you said, it's that baggage. We're all carrying some sort of baggage. That suitcase, I love that analogy. The suitcase that we all have or are carrying some bit of a suitcase that it doesn't even allow us to look to our left or our right anymore. And I encourage you, if you're watching this today, to be the pillar in the community and start something that actively opens the door for the community to rebuild. We have lost all of our boys and girls clubs. We have lost opportunities for children to just come together and be kids. Recreational basketball, it doesn't even exist anymore because the parents are fighting, shootings happening, and it's not the kids. They're just trying to have, like the teacher you just said, I just want to teach. Listen, I can hear a kid saying, I just want to be a kid. I really just want to be a kid. I want to know what that feels like. And they can't say again because they've had to do this for a really long time. So I believe, Paula G, if we can get back to one, trusting in the community, but two, if we can get back to someone being the pillar and not being afraid to open the doors, even in the subdivision, to community events that's going to change the structure of your community. I know we work. I know that we're busy. Paula G and I, we were just talking about having a lunch date, and here we are right here blessing you guys. Blessing you guys. But I think if you can just decide, I'm going to be the pillar, I'm going to be the change, I'm going to create something, I guarantee you that one brings one. And because you decided, someone else is going to decide. And maybe just for a second, you will have that community feel that will be contagious enough to seriously start building on other communities and other communities. So Paula G, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you so much for being on. I thank you for bringing your background. I know that you bless some teachers out there. We know the struggle is real, teachers. We know it's real. But keep in mind that these children are coming in and they're carrying a suitcase that carries a lot more than we can ever think. Paula G said that she went to go hug a young lady, and that young lady had never been hugged before. And maybe we just start there. Maybe we start there. If you can start there by rebuilding, building the trust, I believe that we can redirect the way that this thing is going and start building the community again. Paula G, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy having a conversation with my sister, Shay Samuels, the voice of an angel. This has been delightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you so much. And look, I want you guys to stay tuned again for another amazing episode. Come back and enjoy it. You think you enjoyed this one? Come back. We will see you again on another episode of The Red Room. Mwah.
This is Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom, with Beyond the Moment. It's sometimes difficult to see beyond the moment when you're in the midst of a crisis. But sometimes the vision of being beyond the moment is the very thing that may be needed to get you through the moment. Our society is laced with so many overwhelming events. It seems like they come one right after the other, and they don't allow you the space to breathe or recover. We get so burdened, discouraged, and depressed that we often find it difficult to move on. There's a Bible verse that mentions weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Well, life can be like that as well. And the moment may be that of heavy times, but we must look beyond the moment with hope and faith. Look beyond the moment and keep hope alive. I'm Lady Wisdom, a sagacious lifestyle influencer, embracing my journey, sharing experiences along the way and challenging dreamers to do the same by breathing life into their deferred dreams and living out the reality. It's never too late to embrace your journey and live your dreams. Visit Paula's blog, paulagvoice.com/blog for the full journey. This is Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom with Endurance. The unimaginable happens, and you have no idea how you'll make it through. Sometimes you feel as though you don't even want to bother. Yet we all have those moments at one point in time or another. There is life on the other side of that storm. Those moments when you must dig deep within and find the strength to endure. Rise from the ashes. There are those moments when you can't see beyond the moment. There are those moments when you don't want to hear. There's life on the other side of this, because your this is so traumatizing, you can't see it. How we choose to manage our circumstances is totally a ball that is in our court. We fall down, but we get up. We plunge to the deepest, darkest part of our being, but something inside of us longs to survive. We find ourselves fighting to rise out of the darkness. It's a slow journey, but we eventually see the light at the end of the tunnel. I always say that every day we wake up is an opportunity to set an example. It's an opportunity to change things. It's an opportunity to do better, to grow, and to heal. Someone made the analogy about eating an elephant one bite at a time. Now, literally, we're not in the habit of eating elephants. But when faced with inconvenient situations, impossible situations, we must take one step at a time, one day at a time. We all have endured some situations in our lives that has almost taken us to the point of no return. If we take our eyes off the moment and focus on where it is we desire to be, our goal, our destiny, we can take necessary steps to see our way through difficult times. Now, sometimes it may take therapy, prayer, meditation, and daily affirmations that help you make it through. Our lives are so full of difficult moments, but we must focus on the good times, the great events, the joys. As with any storm, tornado, hurricane that leaves destruction in its path, life goes on afterwards. Life may not ever be the same. Life may look different, but as long as we are living and breathing, we have life. Be encouraged and
Greetings for those of you who are viewing and listening from around the world. Welcome to My Journey with Paula G, where we are juggling this journey called life while we're walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. Thank you all so much for joining us. If this is your first time on the journey, we welcome you. We appreciate you viewing or listening. If you're returning, welcome back. It is so good to have each and every one of you back. You know, I always tell you all when I open this show that time is precious. It is the one thing that we cannot get back. So for you all to think it not robbery to spend just a little bit of time with us is truly, truly appreciated as we prepare these shows each and every week. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our underwriters, because without our underwriters, we would not have the opportunity to bring you so many testimonies and so many stories of those who are indeed juggling this journey called life while walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given each and every one of them. And you know, underwriting is a great way to gain exposure for your business, your product or service, as well as embracing the journey. So if you're interested in being an underwriter for My Journey with Paula G, you can email jerryvoicelive@gmail.com or paula@paulagvoice.com. Please place in the subject line underwriting opportunities, and we can have a conversation as to what would work for you and your audience as well. So we thank you all so very much. Before we introduce our guest, I want to share a bit of Paula's perspective. And this comes from my book, which is entitled My Journey to Lady Wisdom After Midnight, which is available on my website. And I just want to read to you a short excerpt and some reflections. The journey to finding the authenticity of who we were created to be as individuals begins at different points for all of us. You must determine where your journey begins. You must stay encouraged and stay focused on your journey. And as with all journeys, there will be obstacles, there will be setbacks, trials, tribulations, triumphs, sorrow, pain, joy, and losses. There will be detours, and some may be in the wrong direction. And you may travel in the wrong direction for a minute, and it may take you a while to realize that you're not going in the right direction. But once you realize you're traveling in the wrong direction, you may have to start over. But don't fret, don't get discouraged. It is all part of the journey. And I'm telling you, I'm a witness to that. As I've been on this journey, there have been detours, there have been obstacles, there have been setbacks. And I want to encourage you today, those of you who are on a particular journey of doing what it is that God has purposed you to do, to not get discouraged, to keep your eye on the goal, keep your eye on the vision, keep moving forward, because as you continue to move forward, you get over those obstacles, there are lessons along the way. And once you reach that goal, once you are really marinating in the purpose that God has created you to be, you'll reflect back and be blessed for that journey, where you'll be blessed for those trials, you'll be blessed for those tribulations, and you'll be that much stronger and wiser. So be encouraged. So I hope that encouraged you today. Well, today's guest, I am so excited to have these two. They have been on my particular journey with me for quite some time, and I'm so appreciative. And the accolades for both of them, I could take 10 minutes going through the accolades of both of them, but I'll just share just a little bit with you. Firstly, he is a former talk show host. He's a media icon in print, broadcast journalism. He's the founder and president of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. He's an executive. She is a singer. She's a songwriter. She's an educator. She's a psychologist. And the two of them together, in my opinion, are a dynamic duo. And we welcome to My Journey with Paula G, Bernie and U.V. Hayes. Thank you all so much for joining me on the journey. It is so good to have both of you here.
Thank you for inviting us, Paula. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. And your opening statements were just absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
Inspiring.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we get started, for those who have been with me during my radio days and live interview days, whenever I have a couple such as yourselves, I always want to share with the audience, firstly, how many years that you all have been married. How many years have you all been married?
Approximately
Bernie,
40,
you want to take that?
40 years.
40 years. So that's a journey right there, right?
Yes, it is.
Great journey.
A beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, ladies first. So, UV, I will ask you share with us some reflections of that journey and some wisdom that you can share with other couples.
Well, I must say, my husband has been so supportive. Anytime you are there trying to do something, like you said in your opening statement, you get the ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster. But my husband has always been there to support me and just edge me on. And you need that. You really do. So I am so happy and so pleased. And this last song that I did, it was truly for him.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that and a song that I love from a few years ago that you did as well. So we're going to talk about that. So Bernie, share with us reflections of the 40 years of marriage and any advice or nuggets that you have for married couples.
Well, it's just that she continually amazes me. She continues to show talent that I am finally discovering, even newly discovering. One example, at one time we opened up a beauty school, a beauty shop, and her being a school psychologist and a singer and an author, she still went to get beautician's license, so she would know the business that much more, and that's how efficient she is. So when she does something, I mean, she dives 100% into it, and that still amazes me. I'm just amazed at how much and dedicated she is to any object that she pursues.
That is so beautiful that both of you, even after 40 years, are still discovering things and still appreciate the support that you lend to each other.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. So UV, you were talking a moment ago about your latest song. So tell us the inspiration behind your latest song and tell us a bit about your latest song.
My husband was my inspiration. Share my world. I started to think about this song when my husband got sick. And just that little bit of time and that little bit of scare made me feel so like, gee, I need this. Share my world with me. And it just kind of went from there. I don't know if I'll ever really truly do a song like this again. It really came truly from the heart. And I really, really, I just, that's all I can say.
Yeah, it's such a such a beautiful, beautiful song. I was listening to it and it's just a beautiful, and the lyrics, I'm one, and this is what I love about the music of days gone by, are the lyrics. There's so much meaning, behind the lyrics, because you had another song a few years ago that was inspired by Mr. Hayes. Can you share a little bit about that one as well?
Bernie, I think that was the one. Was that the one that was featured in Atlanta? I'm trying to remember. I've done so many.
I know you had a couple of them. It was a couple of them.
It was In My Eyes. I remember that one very well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great song.
Nobody But You, I think the one you're referring to.
I'm sorry?
Nobody But You.
Yes.
Yeah. That song went all over the country, all overseas. Just a beautiful song, and it's still loved today.
Yes.
We're still getting requests for it. It's just a beautiful song. Yeah. And when he did the video in Atlanta, the stepping, that was just absolutely beautiful.
The stepper community just embraced. I can't recall a stepper set that I went to that it wasn't played. And if the DJ forgot to play it, trust and believe he was reminded.
Oh my goodness. I was so proud to see you guys stepping on that song. That just really touched my heart, and I really appreciate Atlanta for that. Thank you so much.
And I remember you sharing about, when the inspiration, again, your husband saying, nobody but you. Oh, don't get me started.
Thank you, Paula.
Don't get me started. Mr. Hayes, you have had quite a career, radio, television, and now you're the president and founder of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame, which I, for one, find such a great resource, a wealth of knowledge, and really a source of inspiration, because it shows the rest of us who are now in radio and television, which looks different than from years ago, the shoulders upon which we stand and the responsibility that we have to produce quality programming. So can you speak to your journey for us a bit?
Well, just to see your picture on our page and sit with your support is inspiring also. But it's just a dream that I've had for all the accomplishments that African Americans have played in the industry, all the accomplishments, all the achievements, all the wonderful things that they've portrayed, that they've done rather, they just seem to be left out of the history books. So it's our time to write our own history. It's our time to acknowledge those people who went so before us, whose shoulders we stood on, that paved the way. Like Jack L. Cooper back in 1929, when he began his radio program and started doing public service and public events and telling the people what was happening in their community. Well, it just eroded from there. Nothing was happening. They just didn't identify black people with anything positive. We were like the stepchild of the industry. But there's so much that they don't know about us, and that's why the National Black Radio Hall of Fame is growing. In fact, the chapters that we encourage now, it's the Chicago chapter, the Atlanta chapter that you're part of, the New York, Jackson, Mississippi, Mid-Florida. We're trying to get Carol Carpenter to reactivate the chapter in Los Angeles. So all over the country. Memphis, Tennessee just came aboard. So it's to recognize those people who were pioneers in the industry, television and radio, who were people of color, African American people who did so much that we need them to know about. We need the world to know about.
Yes, and it's so important because, as you said, Black radio was the hub of the Black community. It's where we got our news. It's where we got our music, and a lot of those broadcasters, those DJs, were really very influential during some very troubling times. You had DJs that were on the air during, riots from decades past, trying to calm the community, trying to inform the community. So just a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of history. And, speaking of the shoulders upon which we stand, just your career in itself, just phenomenal. I think it's almost like you've touched on every aspect, from being a DJ, from being a news broadcaster, print journalist, radio, television. Can you share with us some reflections on your particular journey and how you have seen this industry change?
Well, during the Civil Rights era, they forgot that the black disc jockeys was the voice of the community, the African American community. And the black disc jockey, the black DJ, the black announcer would tell the people where the important meetings were. They would tell them where Dr. King would be. They would tell them where Jesse Jackson. They'd tell them where all the important figures in the movement would be moving and acting. And that's so very important. The most, I appreciate all the accolades that you give me, but what I'm most proud of in the industry, and it's been 65 years now, are the actions I took against radio stations, against bigotry, against the persons who thought that black people weren't worthy. We'd close down one station who thought that we were giving too much black information to the public. Mm-hmm. We closed down a station that said that white people are supposed to earn more money than black people. We closed down a station that just was not knowledgeable enough, who wanted to change formats after the African American community made the station #1. They wanted to go to a pop format in that time. They forgot what the African American community had done for them. There's so many, WERD, WDIA in Memphis, You know, WRD in Atlanta, all these wonderful stations were pioneers, and they told the people what they needed to know. People that other stations just took for granted or did not involve the people whatsoever. And the black disc jockey, the black announcer, the black TV and radio person was the one who was the conduit for all that.
Just listening to you, just, you know, what you shared with us in this small amount of time, it's just powerful. It's just so powerful. UV, you are singer, songwriter, educator, psychologist. How have you been able to use your psychology background, education background, in regard to, I'm kind of asking a twofold question, in regard to your music, and then also a separate question, what are your reflections? You know, we have come through 2 years of a trying time. From the psychologist aspect, what are your reflections on what you see the state of mental awareness is?
Well, I think it's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Let me first of all say that I'm an optimist. I'm with this COVID, it's been really, really hard. A lot of jobs has been lost. A lot of lives has been lost. Musicians that I know, their lives has been lost. And it's just been so hard. But I think it's going to get better. I've been extremely careful myself, not accepting as many dates of entertaining because it's so risky. So, so we just kind of do what we can do and just accept the way it is right now and just kind of hang in there, and it's going to get better. It's one of those roller coaster rides like all the others, up and down, and I think it's going to get better. We just have to be patient, be careful, and do what we need to do to be safe.
Yes. And what prompted you to pursue psychology?
I love children, and in the field of education, we have so many in the urban areas, children who have problems in school. And I just wanted to try to see a little bit more about what I could do to help the children. And that's how I really kind of got into this.
Wow. Yeah, and our children are so, as an educator myself, our children really are, as they say, our future. And they're so, what's the word, pliable, they're so moldable, and what is planted into them at such a young age manifests however it manifests, depending on what it is. It depends on
they need so much help.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at moving forward? What are some projects that you're looking at?
Yeah, continuing to do music. That's one thing I would never really truly give up. Mm-hmm. I'm at the retirement age for the education field, but as always, once a teacher, always a teacher. So, I'll always be there to tell the next person if they need help, just call on me and I'll do what I can. But music going forward, up and on, I won't give it up. So I'm looking forward to my next CD that's coming out, hopefully in the next maybe month or so.
Oh, I can't
wait. I'm working. Yeah. Thank you so much. What would we do without our music?
Yes, it is such it's therapy, I think. I think our music is such therapy. And to your point, as educators, even though we, retire, we never really retire.
Right.
It's just, you see a child and you find yourself ministering to that child.
Exactly.
Some form or fashion.
So true. So true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
all in line with the theme of your program, my television show is aired on the inspirational and gospel station. So that's in line with what you're doing. and your audience. And so each week when I have a guest on, it's from a person who owns a station who's been helping the poor and homeless for exactly 50 years now. And so that's the facility I'm airing on.
Yes. So, and what are you, in addition to your show, what are you looking at moving forward this year? What projects do you have on the table?
Well, we have the National Black Radio Hall of Fame and the Wolf Jazz Institute, of which I'm over at Harris Stowe State University. We're moving into a new facility, a brand new facility, a $3 million facility, hopefully in mid-August, around that time. And looking for that. I am not going to be the interim director of the National Blues Museum much longer. I'll just have an emeritus status there. So but it'll continue to go, the National Blues Museum. And I'm just looking forward to the National Black Radio Hall of Fame expanding and bringing on more chapters. We're talking to Al Bell in Little Rock, Arkansas now, and Al's supposed to come on. Tyrone Davis out of Jackson, Mississippi, he's very active now. So just so many people. And then that's the future, hopefully, of Bernie Hayes and UV Hayes.
And for those who wish to learn more about the National Black Radio Hall of Fame and your show and so forth, can you share with us your social media or website where they can find out more information?
NBRHOF.com. That's the National Black Radio Hall of Fame.com. And they'll see your picture there too.
Okay, thank you.
And for me, UVEE Hayes.com.
UVHayes.com, UVEEHYES.com. And for the National Black Radio Hall of Fame, it's NBRHOF.com.
.com, right.
Not .org.com.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Marcia Washington, Georgia, make sure it's .org, not .org, but .com. Yeah, she'll tell you.
I know, that's why I was asking. We love Marcia Washington, George, who is the president of the Atlanta chapter of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame, where you can find so much history and so much information about the history of Black radio. And some may ask, why Black radio? Because unfortunately, at a time in this country, as Mr. Hayes shared, Black voices had to fight to be heard. And we had to have a platform upon which to have our voices be heard. So, that's just kind of in a nutshell, but National Black Radio Hall of Fame, I hope you all will go out and support and learn a bit as we are taping this particular show during Black History Month. So I hope you will go out and learn. Thank you so much, Mr. Bernie Hayes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. UV Hayes. Ladies and gentlemen, these two, I want you to support these two. I want you to follow these two. They are such an inspiration when it comes to marriage and what it takes for a successful marriage, what it takes for longevity in a relationship. They are also inspirational and motivational in what it takes as a couple to be successful, as well as individuals to be successful. Some things that we are lacking so much today because we're allowing society to dictate what our relationships are looking like. And at the end of the day, it's that man, it's that woman, and how you interact and support each other and love each other and be each other's place of peace, support, and love. So I hope you all got a nugget today. We thank you all so much for joining us. Our underwriters, thank you all so much for your support. Without you, we would not be able to provide this type of programming and this type of platform. So we thank you all so very much for being with us. And as always, the greatest conversation that you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, embrace the journey.
This is Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom, with Beyond the Moment. It's sometimes difficult to see beyond the moment when you're in the midst of a crisis. But sometimes the vision of being beyond the moment is the very thing that may be needed to get you through the moment. Our society is laced with so many overwhelming events. It seems like they come one right after the other, and they don't allow you the space to breathe or recover. We get so burdened, discouraged, and depressed that we often find it difficult to move on. There's a Bible verse that mentions weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Well, life can be like that as well. And the moment may be that of heavy times, but we must look beyond the moment with hope and faith. Look beyond the moment and keep hope alive. I'm Lady Wisdom, a sagacious lifestyle influencer, embracing my journey, sharing experiences along the way and challenging dreamers to do the same by breathing life into their deferred dreams and living out the reality. It's never too late to embrace your journey and live your dreams. Visit Paula's blog, paulagvoice.com/blog for the full journey. This is Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom, with endurance. The unimaginable happens, and you have no idea how you'll make it through. Sometimes you feel as though you don't even want to bother. Yet we all have those moments at one point in time or another. There is life on the other side of that storm. Those moments when you must dig deep within and find the strength to endure. Rise from the ashes. There are those moments when you can't see beyond the moment. There are those moments when you don't want to hear. There's life on the other side of this, because your this is so traumatizing, you can't see it. How we choose to manage our circumstances is totally a ball that is in our court. We fall down, but we get up. We plunge to the deepest, darkest part of our being, but something inside of us longs to survive. We find ourselves fighting to rise out of the darkness. It's a slow journey, but we eventually see the light at the end of the tunnel. I always say that every day we wake up is an opportunity to set an example. It's an opportunity to change things. It's an opportunity to do better, to grow, and to heal. Someone made the analogy about eating an elephant one bite at a time. Now, literally, we're not in the habit of eating elephants. But when faced with inconvenient situations, impossible situations, we must take one step at a time, one day at a time.
Here come the boss lady, the Kelly Holland Show. Watch out, let's go. Here come the boss lady, the Kelly Holland Show. Let's drop it. Here come the boss lady, the Kelly Holland Show. Come on. She gonna get it right. Research all about your life. Her info's always tight, talking just to get inside. Gospel talking, Bible walking, wanna help you see. Faith is calling and she's walking with the victory. The king is on her side and she never quits. Put you on the show and you reminisce. Creative to the point where she's making hits. Business savvy is a Kelly. Are you getting this? Kelly Holland Show. I'm liking this. Kelly Holland Show. Come on, y'all.
Hello, and welcome to the Kelly Holland Show. I'm so glad you tuned in. Today, we have a special guest, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. Please help me welcome Dr. Jacqueline Phelps.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here as well. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Phelps. Please let our viewers know who you are and what it is that you do, ma'am.
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Jacqueline Phelps. I live in Texas right now, Mansfield, Texas. I'm an author, an educator, public speaker. Some might say a Jacqueline of all trades. Right now or today, I'm here to talk about my blog that I have that's called What Hat You're Wearing Today. It's a blog that I do on my website, drphelps.com. That website, you can go to drphelps.com, don't forget the hyphen, and you can reach my weekly blog. Then I also have a show that I do on Facebook that's on my Facebook page. And it's called on my Facebook page, and that runs on Thursday, and it's called Hoped Up Thursday, and that's in conjunction with my book. My book is called Sharing the Way to Grief. So Hoped Up Thursday is a place where people can come to connect with other people who are supporting someone through grief.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I wanted to get to, your book about grief. Grief is something that I struggle with. When I know that there's a birthday coming up of someone that I haven't quite processed yet, that's moved on to Christ, I just do a mental health day. I don't want to deal with anybody or anything, and I just kind of shut down on that day. And that's kind of how I deal with it. But I'm so grateful that you have a book out here for us to kind of tune into and to help us deal with it. Please let us know, firstly, what the inspiration was behind your book and what it is all about.
Great. The inspiration behind my book was the Holy Spirit. I didn't even know that what the things that were being aligned in my life would lead to the book. My daughter passed away in 2003, Michaela Brittany Phelps, from a lower bronchial spasm. When she passed away, you know, I'm the oldest on my family. My husband's the oldest on his side of the family. So it tore our whole family apart, things upside down. I was the oldest of 5 boys. So the nurturer, the protector, the supporter. So when I went upside down, it literally casted a shadow over a lot of our family. So the book is in relationship. It's a relationship book. How do you have relationships while you're on the journey, while you're doing the thing? How do you communicate? How do you love?
Those things are very important when you're going through your process of grief. And thank you so much. Tell us more about your book without giving all the jewels, because we want our viewers to go out and get
Okay, so the book is the first part of the book is my journey. And that starts with the day that Michaela passed and moves you directly to the whole day. Her passing, the fact that my husband and my older brother and his older brother was there. And the children were not, because I was with them at the water park and had brought Michaela home. So the book starts off talking about the hand of God, even in that I didn't even feel or know or see at the time. But now that I'm 18 years on this side of the journey, I can better see behind me. And that day, when Michaela passed, I dropped her back off and I went back to the water park. She said she just didn't want to swim anymore. And so I dropped her off and I went back to the water park with the rest of the children. So the only people that were home was Michaela and the men. And that started the anger between God and I, which brought the book. Why was I not there? Why did you cheat me from that? Why did you take that away from me? So the book kind of grows from that relationship that I had, open dialogue that I had with the Holy Spirit and with God, because I was very unpleased, but my personality allowed me to voice that to him and not be afraid to voice that, not thinking that God was so small that I could interrupt him by my questioning. And then
it must have been very healing.
It was very healing. And the last part of the book is the healing part. That's the part about the quick reference guide. where you'll find scriptures and application and quick tips and prayers that you can insert the person's name into.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is beautiful. You know, I enjoy the interviews that we have with authors because you guys are just so creative in what you produce and what you want to share with the world. Because your products are available worldwide. Yes. Okay. Once you put it together.
Oh yeah, worldwide.
There it is. There it is. Packaged and ready to go. It's tangible, y'all. Put your hand on it. It's not just, on it. Okay, and buy it. Okay.
Buy it.
It's
buy
not
two.
Just, it's the do it 2, 3, 4 and pass them out because we all deal with mental health in our own ways. And so and some of us need a little bit of help with that too. Amen. And
if I could real fast to tell them about the cover, how the cover came about.
Yeah,
so the
everything
cover is Jesus and Simeon. And so, or Simon, however you say it out of your mouth or in your culture. And it's about Jesus's relationship with him, that he was picked out of the crowd, not wanting to be picked because he was there with his children. So no one wants to be picked to help someone that's being crucified when you have your family on board. So I thought about
Simeon was who came out the crowd to help.
Yes, and he came out not because he said me. No, he was picked out and told, right. But he came, and so I felt that way, that I didn't want to come, but I was picked and chose to come. And then he helped Jesus. He didn't take the cross. He didn't bury it. He didn't get on the cross and do it for him. He just helped him with the load. So the book is designed off of that. Sharing the weight of grief, sharing the load. You can't have my load. You can't have my grief. You can't be crucified, but please come and help me make it.
Amen. That's powerful. So
this is a please come and help me make it book.
Hey, honey, send me 4-5. That battle of the mind is not easy to overcome, and we need help. But sometimes we retreat to our cave and we don't want to be bothered, and we get caught in that stage of funk. And that funk can last for a while, and then you start to stink.
That's why I love your show, because your show is real conversation, and my book is real conversation. So if your ears are a little sensitive, then keep on reading past that point. I'll come back and get you. But I speak about real talk. I say it the way that it needs to be said. I say, if I was smelling my daughter's dirty panties, that's what I said. And it's hard for someone to hear, but if you've had a loss, you understand it. You take things of the person and you put them in Ziploc bags so that you can go back and reminisce. Not wise, not healthy, but you do it. And so I speak about those things that are unspeakable.
Box too. I do. I have a keepsake box too. My dad passed away out of nowhere. I'm still upset about it.
And I can feel it. And I can feel, that this is community. This is how we make it. When you say that, we stop and we receive it and we experience it because it's real.
Go back, right? When you go back and you have to look through their belongings and you gotta tidy that up. Oh Lord, I done messed the makeup up. But when you have to go back through their belongings and you gotta kind of collect it and deal with that moment in their space and their smells, and you don't realize those things when you're in the midst of it. You realize it now that they're gone, now that you've taken time away, and then when you re-enter that space, oh man, the memory.
And I'm just hugging on you and I'm loving you right now as your tears fall, because they don't make me sad when I see your tears fall, because you know what I see? I see love. I see that if you didn't love him like that, if you didn't love hard, there'd be no tears. So when I see that, I think, my God, she loved that man.
I did. When we were cleaning up, I do. When we were cleaning up his pillowcase, and you talk about putting things in Ziploc bags, his pillowcase smelled like him. I zipped it right up, folded it up, zipped it up, and every now and then, I go smell my daddy.
Just enough. Ain't that just enough? It's just enough.
I go smell my daddy. I kept his shoes. I kept just random things, and I put it all in my box. So no, you're not weird. It's
Right.
nothing wrong with your healing process.
And I think that we all experience that, but somewhere in the church body, we have been conditioned to be quiet-mouthed about those feelings.
You think it came from the church
suppress
body?
those feelings.
You think it came from the church body, or did you think
I think that
our older way of living?
I think it's an older way of living, but because church is so rooted in us, I don't know anything older in my family than my church.
How about that?
Because that was where we had Wednesday night Bible study, Thursday night family time, Friday night it was choir practice, Saturday night was children's choir, Sunday we was at church all day.
It's the rec center, baby.
So everything from our culture, from my family, flowed from there. So when someone passed, we learned how to move on from those. And what they would say is, I'm good. Or they would say, you say, how you doing today? Blessed and highly favored.
All of that.
Blessed and highly favored. And I would say that and come home and be like, arguing with God. And he's like, well, why you tell them you blessed and highly favored, but when you come sit here with me, you upset. So call it like it is. When they asked you how you doing, say you upset with me, because that's the truth. So I started speaking truth, my truth. I don't feel blessed and highly favored. I feel injured because he hurt me so bad and I love him so much.
And why?
And why? And then once the truth came out, then I could write the book. Then I could tell a story. Then I could stop being a victim. God wasn't picking on me.
No. There's always so much more to the plan. And had we had knowledge of the plan, who would we be today?
Oh, you better stop it.
Perfect, right? Doubt it. We'd be like, oh, it's going to be taken care of, so I can do all this. We'd probably be worse, way worse, if we knew the plan. I think
because if I knew the plan, I would go ahead of him and I'd have this whole thing done, and it's not my timing, it's his timing. It's not my will, it's his will. It's not my power, it's his power. So I must slow down. I must make myself, I have 4 principles that I provide in the book. And the first one is the work belongs to God. And that we forget that on grief journeys, especially when you're supporting someone and you want that person so bad to be happy again, but you can't work them into better. The second one is silent is more than okay. It's vital. It's okay to be quiet. It's okay not to have a statement. It's okay not to have a comeback. It's okay not to know what to say. The third one is the journey. The Holy Spirit is the master teacher. You're not going to teach nobody out of grief. You're not going to love nobody out of grief. You're not going to rock nobody out of grief. You're not going to cuss nobody out of grief. You have to allow the Holy Spirit to tell you exactly what to say at the moments when to say it. And then the final one, which is the one I love the most, is that the journey belongs to the grieving loved one. You're just helping them with the cross. You don't get to carry it. You don't get to define it. You don't get to date it. You don't get to put time limit. All you get to do is to come and share with me on it. Make it a little lighter.
Amen.
And thanks for letting me lighten your load today. We got your
did.
dad. What is his name?
My dad, Michael Baker. Gonna lift you up, Pop. But and when I thank you so much. But then I'm also thinking about other mothers that have lost siblings. Well, dang, now I feel bad. I've lost 2 children, but the only thing I'm thinking about is my daddy. It's more recent. But my very close girlfriend, she's lost a son. And as you sit here and talk, all I can do is remember being there for her. Here we go again. Being there for her and just, trying to be supportive, but like you say, helping her with the cross, helping her to be in her cave, to be silent, taking the burden off of her and taking care of some of this paperwork stuff that I'm good at. And she don't need to worry about that right now. You know, and to use a child violently, her oldest, it tore the whole family apart. Likewise with you, I'm sure.
Yes.
And it sounds like y'all have big families.
Big family. Big family.
Right. So, you know, just to lose a child, wow. It does something to you as a mother. It harms you.
Yes. I think for me, it made me more, what it seems that whatever your personality is, you tend to fall different. So if you're an introvert, you're more vocal. If you're an extrovert, then what I did was I recoiled. I went underground. And when I went under, I didn't even want to be touched. Just somebody touching me was too much. So I would do the fake your thing in the morning so that I could get Erica, at the time was 5, so that I could get her to school and get her off. And then I would come home, and for 6 months, I flipped God off literally and went back to bed. And that's how I felt, because I felt like that's what he was doing to me. But in his timing,
I'm mad at you, God. You did.
Yeah, and I was very okay with saying that I knew him and I loved him that much, that I knew that he could have saved me at any time. And so that hurt me.
But I like how God is patient with us, and he waits for us. It's like, you know what? I know you're mad, and I'm gonna give you that time because you're coming back to me. Because I have a plan for you, and it's not to harm you, but it's to prosper you. Come on with that Jeremiah 29. It's to prosper you and not to harm you. It's to keep you and to give you a hope and a dream. And so with that in mind, I'm not thinking about what you're going to do for me, God. I'm thinking about what I'm dealing with right now and how bad it hurts, and I don't know what to do. I don't have the wherewithal. But you have this tool right here to share, to help me with my grief, to get the weight off of it, to help my shoulders not have all this burden on it. And so I'm so grateful for you, Mother of God. I'm so grateful for you. I love when my guests come on with these nice little gems. I'm like, ooh, what else you got out there? What else is out there? Please, please, please give us more gems.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a curriculum that will do just that. I'm an application girl. So I believe that you can sit and you can receive all the word that you can hold. But if there's no application and implementation, then it falls on stony ground, or the birds will just come and take it away. So I'm coming with a curriculum that will give, or modules that will give ministers the tools in their hands, because the book speaks to the supporter, not to the griever. Even though at times I was the griever like you, but then at times you were the supporter of someone. And it could be from the same situation as when my daughter passed. I was the griever, and as the mother does most often, the head griever. My husband, I had to comfort him at times. I had to comfort my brothers at times. So at times I had to be wise enough to take off my grieving hat, set it down, and then pick up my supporting hat and put it on, so that we all could come out good. So the book is about, take your grieving hat off, put Black woman, because we have so many, and put on your supporting hat, but know they exist so you can survive. Know that there's that hat and there's that hat, and that both of them are valid, but you can't wear them at the same time.
Amen. Amen. Feel so inspired right now. I truly do. And I hope you have too, viewers, because I done messed up this makeup talking to Dr. Phelps. Somebody told me I had to put some extra stuff on today. Nobody told me to get that concealer ready. Nobody told me. Dr. Phelps, it's been such a pleasure to have you on today. I am so grateful that you have offered me some healing.
You healed me too today, and that's how it works, right? Thank you for healing me today.
I appreciate you, woman. I truly do. Please let our viewers know how they can support you, how they can reach out to you, how they can find you in all of your works.
Okay, so on Thursdays at noon, I have a Facebook group that's called Hoped Up Thursday. drphelps.com. And so you can go to the Facebook page, drphelps.com. That's the Facebook page. And then I have a group that I run a session on called Hoped Up Thursday. And that's on noon, Hoped Up Thursday. So the theme is because I had someone in my life, an older lady that used to say, I'm so hoped up. So I want the supporter. That's the place that we do just what you and I are doing right now. It's open dialogue. We sit and we talk. We talk about your dad, just like we talked today. People put in the chat things that's helped them. I ask them to put scriptures that have helped. It's a community where we come together, supporters, to help one another make it on our journeys. And then I have a blog that comes out once a week called What Hats You Wearing Today? And that's where I keep it real like you. I'm like, what we need to talk about this week, my conversation, because this is National Women's Month. So this week, my conversation was about us women making 40%, being 20%, making 20% to 40% less than males in the workplace internationally. Yes, still, but you want me to put my hat on. So you know my hat had to bow low for that one. We need to speed it up, speed it up. And then other than that, I'm going to be just places promoting my book and public speaking. I'm truly love speaking and I don't care how small, because I love people, but I love speaking at Bible studies, women conferences. I even do, in the summertime, I do back to school, when the kids come back to school. I tailor make my conversation to whatever age group, because there's grief in elementary and there's grief in nursing homes. So I care not who the subject is. I just love people.
Amen, amen. And it's been a pleasure to have you on our show. Please come back with more jewels for our healthy minds. Amen, amen, amen. Viewers, please go out and support Dr. Phelps. She has her book out right now. Please buy some copies for your family. We could all use some help in that area. Dr. Phelps, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And you have just witnessed the Kelly Holland Show. Have a good day.
This is Paula G. Voice, aka Lady Wisdom, with Beyond the Moment. It's sometimes difficult to see beyond the moment when you're in the midst of a crisis. But sometimes the vision of being beyond the moment is the very thing that may be needed to get you through the moment. Our society is laced with so many overwhelming events. It seems like they come one right after the other, and they don't allow you the space to breathe or recover. We get so burdened, discouraged, and depressed that we often find it difficult to move on. There's a Bible verse that mentions weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Well, life can be like that as well. And the moment may be that of heavy times, but we must look beyond the moment with hope and faith. Look beyond the moment and keep hope alive. I'm Lady Wisdom, a sagacious lifestyle influencer, embracing my journey, sharing experiences along the way and challenging dreamers to do the same by breathing life into their deferred dreams and living out the reality. It's never too late to embrace your journey and live your dreams. Visit Paula's blog, paulagvoice.com/blog for the full journey. This is Paula G. Boyce, aka Lady Wisdom with Endurance. The unimaginable happens, and you have no idea how you'll make it through. Sometimes you feel as though you don't even want to bother. Yet we all have those moments at one point in time or another. There is life on the other side of that storm. Those moments when you must dig deep within and find the strength to endure. Rise from the ashes. There are those moments when you can't see beyond the moment. There are those moments when you don't want to hear. There's life on the other side of this, because your this is so traumatizing, you can't see it. How we choose to manage our circumstances is totally a ball that is in our court. We fall down, but we get up. We plunge to the deepest, darkest part of our being, but something inside of us longs to survive. We find ourselves fighting to rise out of the darkness. It's a slow journey, but we eventually see the light at the end of the tunnel. I always say that every day we wake up is an opportunity to set an example. It's an opportunity to change things. It's an opportunity to do better, to grow, and to heal. Someone made the analogy about eating an elephant one bite at a time. Now, literally, we're not in the habit of eating elephants. But when faced with inconvenient situations, impossible situations, we must take one step at a time, one day at a time. We all have endured some situations in our lives that has almost taken us to the point of no return. If we take our eyes off the moment and focus on where it is we desire to be, our goal, our destiny, we can take necessary steps to see our way through difficult times. Now, sometimes it may take therapy, prayer, meditation, and daily affirmations that help you make it through. Our lives are so full of difficult moments, but we must focus on the good times, the great events, the joys. As with any storm, tornado, hurricane that leaves destruction in its path, life goes on afterwards. Life may not ever be the same. Life may look different, but as long as we are living and breathing, we have life. Be encouraged and remember that each season of life that we come through makes us stronger. We have the opportunity to take what we have learned and help others through their difficult times. So give yourself credit. Be gentle with yourself. You can endure.
Stories help us to understand the world around us. They allow us to laugh. They allow us to cry. They give us the ability to feel and provide us with an outlet to heal. Join me as I get to know some of the amazing people behind the stories that we read in order to truly discover the story that has been hidden within each of us. My name is Bree Smith, and this is the Author Push Talk Show. Welcome to the Author Push Talk Show. I'm your host, Bree Smith. Today we have an incredible guest. Her name is Ray Lee. She is going to be talking about her children's book, Big Trucks, Big Trucks. I cannot wait to hear more about this. So welcome to our show today, Ray Lee. So can you tell the people a little bit more about yourself?
Yes. Again, my name is Ray Lee. I am the author of Big Truck, Big Truck. I am a children's author and also a writer. And I am from the Midwest, and I love writing, reading, and all that great stuff, and anything that's fun and educational.
Amen. Amen. What part of the Midwest are you from?
Illinois, not Chicago, but like the southern part. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. So
okay, up the road, down the street, neighbor. Okay.
Okay. I live out here on the East Coast now, but yes, still feel like I'm more Midwestern than Southern. Everybody's like, oh, nah, Kentucky South. I'm like, I live right across from Indiana, so I consider myself Midwest.
Because we know those Southern Kentucky folk are a little different. So
way different. Yes. Well, I also know that you are a counselor too. So
yes.
do you do children? Are you like, do you specialize in children counseling, or do you do like more adult counseling?
More adult counseling. I love working with children. I have done counseling with children, but I know that my specialty is more with adults. And I'll say that I'm really good with children, but that is a population where you can't just save all those kids and take them home with you. So, I have to be mindful of, making sure I have boundaries there when it comes to that, because some of the things the children are going through in their homes or in foster care or something like that, it's a lot to take in, and you don't want them to leave because you don't know sometimes they're going to be safe, So I realize that that's probably not my area.
Right. And it's so funny you say that, because I know this is so funny how the Lord brings everything back full circle. But when I first went to college in undergrad, I actually got my degree in psychology. And
okay.
Sitting there saying, at that time, I was like, do I continue on? Do I continue doing psychology? Do I go on social work? And then I sat there and said, you know what? I don't want to take these people's problems home with me. Said I don't want that, because I feel it's going to be a burden, right? So anyway, long and behold, I ended up working my way up the corporate ladder. And, at that point, I don't feel fulfilled. I feel burnt out. And I realized I'm really like counseling my employees. I'm not at that point really, I'm leading them, but I have to counsel them. And I'm like, if I might as well just kind of switch and start using my degree. And so after I came out of the corporate field, I actually went into therapeutic day treatment counseling in the school system. Now, mind you, I've never wanted to work with kids. I did not, because of my own trauma growing up. But I was just like, man, look, I could do adults. I ain't trying to handle these kids. And then especially in middle school. But what I found was I loved it. I loved working. But like you said, I felt like there was a lot of issues that I saw that the school system wasn't providing, even within our own services, that we were not providing for those children. And me being me, try to be like superhero. I'm trying to take on all these issues, and I'm like, sis, these ain't your kids. First and foremost, these ain't your kids.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And secondly, you can't do that by yourself. Like that's still the responsibility of the parent. That's still the responsibility of the school. You know what I mean? And so that did start to take a toll on me. But I do realize that a lot of that stemmed from childhood and dealing with a lot of trauma for myself, right? Because I was abused growing up by my father, and just growing up in that abusive household, seeing my mom being abused, seeing my, being abused myself, you know what I mean? Like that took a toll on me. And even like the, how I saw the world, right? Really took a toll on me. So I commend anyone who is out there and you can handle that. I can handle it to an extent, I will say.
Yes.
I do find it fascinating, because I ended up writing, that's how we connected. I ended up writing a children's book based off my testimony. You know what I mean? Based off what happened to me as a child. And then you wrote this children's book. So what inspired you to write a children's book instead of like, maybe writing like a regular novel or a memoir?
Which is weird. And I'm going to say this because, for years, I've always written like adult content, whether it's short stories, a little bit of a novel here and there. And I never published anything. And so I wrote my first children's book, I think in 2009. I just typed it up, put it away, nothing fancy. It was cute story. Then after a while, I'll still write other things. And then the children books, they start flowing a lot more. And I don't know if that was God saying, oh no, you're going to write something. You're going to put out something. And everything I would write, via, whether it's inspirational things or anything, I would put it away. But the children book, this is what came first. And I don't know if I wasn't just being obedient or what. I just wasn't really sure about if writing was really going to pay off, you know? I think that's what it was, you know?
Right, right. So can you tell us a little bit more about Big Trucks, Big Trucks?
Yeah, so Big Truck, actually, this is so random. This is why I know it's random. I was in a car with my daughter in May of 2020, and I saw this semi truck going through the intersection. And the truck, you know, I said, Big Truck, where are you going? My daughter repeated after me and said, Big Truck, where are you going? And so I asked him, do you know where where do you think he's going? What do you think's in his truck? And I started to have a conversation about logistics and transportation and how it affects the economy and our communities. And so, I mean, not just semis, dump trucks, you know, delivery trucks. We had a fun and great conversation about that. And I talked to her about this, and I figured like other kids may want to know about this as well, but I didn't want to bog them down with logistics and all that great stuff, but I wanted them to know about it, but in a fun way, and get them to start thinking about when they're at the store, when they go to the store, when they see a truck, whether it's a fire truck, anything, like what's happening with this truck? You know, how is it serving us in the community?
That. Yes, I love that. I love that. So with your book, I know you've been doing a lot of stuff with schools, but you know what I just thought about? Have you did anything? I don't know. Somehow I was thinking like connecting that with like economics or economy.
Not yet, but I think that's a good area as well. I haven't yet, so that's a good idea, Bree. Thank you for that.
For real, like that just came to me because I was like, that'd be kind of something cool to like go into a social studies class and maybe kind of create like some type of, you know, workshop or something where like the kids can really do something with that. I think that'd be excellent. I mean, I don't know, it just came to me, you know, I'd be fluent sometimes, but
yeah, I didn't show the book, but I just want to show it because it's so colorful. Like it's an amazing book. And it's actually a dump truck on the front of it. It's not a semi, because this character pretty much brought it to life, I think, you know? Yeah. And Calvin Reynolds did the illustration.
Okay, yes. So what inspired you to be a writer? You said you've always loved writing and things like that. So is that just like a hobby or a passion of yours?
Honestly, I think it's a quiet passion. You know, it's one of those things that you know you can do, but you think that you're better at other things. Hence me pursuing other areas as far as like counseling. And it's weird, Bree, that you said about I was actually a business major. Oh, wow. So I was not even listen, I'm with you with the mental health, not mental health, but like people's problems, right? And so, but I switched over from business to psychology, and I was almost done with my business degree, but I really like psychology. And so I pursued all those other interests, and I still would write, but I would just tuck it away. I would send out like these inspirational messages every morning to my family and friends and things like that. And I'll get them, they'll come back and say, so one of my friends always said like, so you don't want your own like Hallmark cards or something like that? You don't want to do anything with this? I'm like, yeah, eventually I'm going to, but you know, I was just pursuing everything else.
Right. I understand that. So have you thought about writing like any books, like memoirs, or just like any books for adults or anything? Or are you just gonna stick with the children's thing?
Honestly, I have one novel in my mind. Like it's not done, but it's there. I have it, but I do have a couple novels that I've actually started and I haven't finished. And so I think eventually I will publish those. I do have a compilation of short stories, and maybe some of them I can branch them off and maybe make them novels as well.
Okay, that'd be cool. So are you thinking like you like more like fiction than nonfiction writing?
Yeah, I like more fiction. I do. That way, you know, you can do a little bit more, I feel like, with the characters. You know what I mean? Nonfiction, and you know, it's the truth is the truth, you know, you know. So, but I definitely love fiction. I love, and I read everything, just about everything. Not so much romance, but I would say that fiction, I would probably write something more fiction wise.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Me, I want to do both. I want to write more fiction. There's still a couple within my children's book series I know I have to work on. But I also want to work on my memoir. And like I said, there's a couple other books I know God has graced me to write. And so I'm like, I love to write. Like, that's just my passion. I love writing, but I also love to read. Like, I'm a huge reader. Of course, growing up, it was more fiction. But as I got older, I love, like, I'm reading all kind of books. Like, I like, mainly a lot of like self-help books.
Yes.
A lot of books on faith, books on business, leadership, so just stuff that just like truly to help me to grow as a person. So do you read a lot of books too?
I do. Actually, I did get your children's book. I didn't post it yet, but I do have that. I read a lot. And many of the ones that you actually named, devotionals, faith-based, I read. I like mystery. I like mystery. I like a little bit of drama. I like that suspense. Love those. And then, of course, I do like a little bit of the sci-fi stuff as well. So I have a variety of things that I read, and of course, poetry I love. And so, yeah, I love just about all books. I'm not a romance buff. It loses me. It loses me because maybe I can't conceptualize what's happening in a lot of the scenes, and it seems so cheesy. So I just don't like it.
Oh wow, and it's funny because I know back in the day, before I got married, I would read like a lot of romance novels. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like romance novels do get you caught up because you'll be sitting there having this ideology of who your person's supposed to be. And then when you get with somebody, you're like, hey, you ain't like how this book portrayed.
Yes, exactly.
And so I feel like they set us up for unrealistic expectations, but I'll read. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I do love a lot of rom-com movies, romance comedy movies. So
right.
That. But I'll read it on occasion if it's something good.
That's right. It has to be something good, but I think that I realize how much it has affected me not liking it, because even in an action movie and they have a love story, and I'm like, I'll fast forward. I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Because we are in a crisis. We should not be kissing right now. You know what I mean? That's my mindset.
I ain't gonna lie, I do think like that too. Like, okay, survival mode. That is so funny. So do you hear from a lot of your readers and stuff like that?
I do. I have actually, I got a text yesterday regarding a teacher, my sister who lives in Savannah. Her neighbor's a teacher, and so she took the book to her class. She read it, and the parents sent her pictures and said, "Please get this to the author." And they were like, "We love your book. It's amazing." I have people just all over reaching out saying this is an amazing book. I went to this corporate eventing event recently, and this lady said, "Hey, I saw you in December, and I just want you to know that my grandkids love this book." And they have a drawing. She sent me an email, and he drew a picture of Big Truck, and I posted it on social media. And I happened to see her that same day, and I showed it to her, and we took a picture together. Excuse me, so she can show her grandson, "Hey, I told you I really know this author. I met her." So yeah, I've been getting a lot of response saying that it's fun, it's educational, and kids are excited to hear about Big Truck. Yes.
Man, I love that, sis. Listen, I really do, girl. You need to make something like a workshop, family workshop or something with that. I think something dope, because I think the kids will love that, especially if you get all the little toys, how them boys are, get all the trucks and vehicles. Yes. Like, yes.
Yes, I agree.
I love that. So what do you like about being a children's book author?
I like it. I like excuse me. I like being a children's book author because it helps you stay youthful, right? It helps you look at things through a child's eyes and realize that, we can definitely take life serious, but also still have fun while we're learning, while we're growing. And with kids, they're like sponges. So that it is very intriguing to me. So I am always just in awe of children and watching them and seeing them develop. It's just such a beautiful thing. And so I think that there's always a lot of material there to write with.
Amen. Amen. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love being I don't just like to call myself a children's book writer, but because that's like my first books that I've written. Yeah, I love writing children's books for that very reason alone too. And especially when you start to go to the different trade shows and the book tours and you meet the kids and they are like interacting with you and they're interacting with the book. I love it. And just families come together. I absolutely love that.
I agree.
So as a child, what did you want to do when you grew up?
So I would say that I don't know. I take that back. I do know. So I wanted to be a lawyer or a coroner. I know that's so random. So I love science and math growing up, but I also love reading and I love words and the way that they tie together and how they can help develop a wonderful story. But I honestly probably would have gone to law school. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see you being a lawyer too. For sure. Yeah. As a child, I wanted to be so many things. I don't think I was ever consistent. As my mother, she was like, "Hey, you jump around from thing to thing." She'd be like, I'm gonna play this flute. Play the flute. I don't want that. I'm gonna do the violin. I'm telling you, it just.
Oh wow.
But I appreciate that because I feel like I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. I would say the thing that stuck with me consistently was definitely doing stuff in ministry and then definitely doing business and writing. Okay. I will say, and which is
those are your areas. Okay.
Yeah, and so I definitely do appreciate that. Love that. Yes, I do. Okay, girl. Well, is there anybody you would like to shout out or anything like that?
I would say my daughter. She's amazing. She's absolutely an inspiration to me. Just to not only continue to pave the way for her, as many people have done for you and myself. She's always my cheerleader. She's always encouraging me, and she's probably the first person that made me introduce myself as a writer, as an author. I'm serious. Well, as an author, I should say. I remember we were somewhere, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my name's Ray," and she was just like, and they were asking me what did I do, and I was telling them about counseling, right? And she's like, "Oh no, she's an author. No, she's an author."
Wow.
Her name is Ray Lee. Her book is Big Truck, and she writes great stuff. And like this is like she's 8.
Yes, go mama. Yes, I love it. I'm telling you, at that age, it's like you got so much empowerment, power. You like, look, no, I'm gonna tell you, and I love it. And I just wish as adults we still kept that same energy, right, and that same. And I know it's because, as you get older, you realize what life is and you go through trials and tribulations, but it's just like to keep that childlike wonder and excitement.
Yes.
I love that. I do. So where can everybody get your book?
Yes, you can get Big Truck on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Books A Million. Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Ray. I appreciate it, girl. And you are always welcome back in the future for any other projects that you are doing. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Bree. It's always great to see you, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for having me.
Yes, no problem. Well, thank you guys for watching the Author Push Talk Show today. It's been a great, amazing day. Please connect with me. I would love to hear any testimonies that you guys have, or if there's any authors out there that is interested in being on the show, please connect with me. You can do so at my email address, which is breesmithglobal@gmail.com. Please feel free to look me up on IG. It is Bree Smith Official. And also, please feel free to look me up on my Facebook page, Author Push Media Services. So you can look that up as well. So once again, Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.